ideas for Dharma talks are kind of interesting. I often say I'm different title, but same talk. Not always so. Today, I'm going to talk about, is it whatever arises?
What arises is fresh.
What arises
What arises
is French?
fresh.
Oh, fresh. What arises is fresh, fresh. This is a way of teaching in the ancient Tibetan lineage of Dzogpa Temple, the great perfection. Whatever arises, that's it. It is fresh. It is just completely fresh. It just may not look like that to you because you're busy trying to get rid of your world, trying to miss your life, trying to push things away. But whatever arises is fresh, completely unique, never happened before, never will happen again. And the before and the began are also illusions. So, but you get to see that. The downside of being a living being is life is suffering, and you're in for it. The upside of it is you get to realize your true nature, which is consciousness only, showing temporarily up in a very limited body form of being whatever it may be, a frog, a turkey, human being. The differentiation there is not that great. They're living beings, but there's quite a bit of difference when it comes to a human. Why? The Buddha awoke and said what he said. He taught. Not that there aren't other human beings who have also awakened and have taught out of what they saw. But I'm here to say, use this title of this as whatever arises, fresh. It's just a way of saying that whatever arises is exactly what it needs to be. The differentiation and desire that hang around there like a fog that cause you to think, well, that can't be, or I don't get enough of that, or that doesn't even concern me. Passion, aggression, and ignorance. It's a constant torment of the three sufferings. Just really, really difficult. Everyone's going through that. We, as students of this particular teaching, at least get to have some conceptual idea of what you could actually do to work with this without going to war with someone, or without joining somebody who you think is correct or peaceful, or finding some activity that just keeps you distracted from suffering in your mind, keeps you distracted from it. So you have the power of positive thinking. Like, I think it was Norman Vincent Peale promoted that. Quite popular fellow. Why wouldn't he be? Power of positive thinking. Why didn't I think of that? It'd be great. And what is the difference between that and everything is fresh? What arises is fresh. Is because this is a teaching that can help you receive whatever shows up as fresh. Smell that, taste that, feel that, see that, hear that, think that, feel that. Receive it, receive it, receive it. Everything you have here is a receiver that you hear, you receive. You don't produce sounds with these. How do you produce sounds? This is not a test. Though I may occasionally get very testy. Not going to happen today. I'm completely peaceful today because everything is fresh. I'm just thoroughly enjoying myself. I was told recently, stop being so crazy. And what I think, maybe I should do that. Maybe I'll just be fresh, positive, fresh. Everything is fresh. Everything is completely wonderfully present as it is. As it is. If you don't receive it, then you cannot, that teaching will not be immediate. It will be something you think about and try to see if something is fresh. You'll evaluate to see, is that fresh? As it says in the Tibetan teachings, is it Rochig? Is that one taste? Rochig? You know, one of your Tibetan scholars know. One taste, one taste. It's just this taste. Excuse me, fresh. You can live that way in the midst of the chaos or the conflict or the difficulty or the soreness in your body or your mind. You can live that way. You can just receive everything. You don't have to maintain it. I even have a saying that don't maintain, just return. Or you could say it this way: return, just return. Don't maintain. Just whatever shows up, return to that. Return your attention, your receptors, your receiving, your ears, eyes, nose, tongue, body, mind, spirit, silence, movement, return and receive and receive and receive. Contrary somewhat, maybe quite a bit to the mundane path, there will not be a result. You will not necessarily feel like, oh, I finally see it. It's fresh. Why didn't I think of this? Or I need to continue to do this. This feels so good. It may not feel good. It may not. But if you see it, you receive it, it will be fresh. It's a way of talking about how to work with consciousness, not only on the cushion, but in this present moment, when you're standing in the doorway talking to someone that just came to your house, or when you've just come to someone's house and you're standing in front of them and talking to them about some issue you're having, or anything at all, fresh, completely. Past and the future are inventions. There is no such thing. You can ask questions around this, not yet, but in a few minutes, ask some questions about this. How is it possible that there cannot be a past and a future? It's not possible. That's how it's possible. You have to understand it this way. At some point, you're going to have to leave your book of rules or laws or things you can't do or things you can do, or all of your standards that you've been taught by your society, by your parents, by your family, by your religion, by Buddhism. You're going to have to step away from those or set those aside or step right through the middle of those so that you can see what this is yourself and see that it is fresh, completely, totally, utterly fresh, just fresh. It may be full of pain, suffering, anguish. Those are just secondary things that tend to tag along, like bugs on a tree. Still a tree, it's still fresh, it's completely fresh. And if you look at it enough and with persistence and with intention, you see that the bugs are fresh. There never was such thing as a bug. Look closely. You have your whole life, I presume you do, probably have some of it left. Maybe you've got 50 years left. Who knows? But look at what this is, please. Look at what it is, no matter what shows up, no matter how ornery he is or happy she is or bummed out that you are or they are, that me and them and all the things that we do to keep this crazy carnival, this Coney Island of the mind rotating and turning up nice things and turning away from that into turning up difficult, challenging, disagreeable, smelly, outrageous things. Receive it, receive it, receive it. It is fresh. It's completely fresh. And don't believe that it's fresh. Listen to what's being said. Consider it. Look at that word fresh. What does it mean, fresh? Anyone here, did you look it up? What does it mean to be fresh? Completely new, completely present, completely without rot, without decay, without anything. Just fresh, just present. Authentic presence, as Trungpa Rinpoche would say, authentically present. No substrate underneath it holding it up to protect its presence. It is just there. It's just consciousness. Might look like a thing, might look like a being, might look like your wife, might look like your Doberman, but it's completely fresh. You can see this. It's possible. It's impossible not to. It's possible. It's impossible not to. And it's fresh. Or you can believe your thoughts, which could probably anything from just disturbed up to including criminal. And you can just follow your thoughts and see where that takes you. If anything takes you anywhere, you've abandoned your life. You don't need to go anywhere. You need to, wherever you're at, if you're looking at your screen, if you're looking at me, if you're listening to me, just receive. Don't miss your life. It's right in front of you. I'm not saying you don't have to quit your job or get a divorce or maybe you have, but if you need to do that, you will not be able to avoid it. It will just come in like a windfall. A windfall of otherness. It would just come in like, you're getting a divorce, whether you like it or not. You don't think it's funny? Take an issue with what I'm saying? Okay, good. Whatever happens is appropriate. Whatever happens, as an old friend of mine used to say, whatever happens is exactly what it needs to be. There's nothing to correct, nothing to fix. Doesn't mean that you won't feel otherwise, but even that wanting to correct or fix is also completely fresh. It's impossible to explain. If we go into concepts about it, we just start to spin, and the only person that would probably understand you would be someone who lived in the 13th century, Dogen Zenji. Hey, Dogen. Not hey, Dogen, but hey, Dogen. Wakarimashka? So returning to the talk title, which is a powerful one, receive the freshness. And the way you do that is you don't look for freshness. Whatever is there in front of you is the freshness. That is it. Even if it's a negative reaction to someone, it's fresh. If it's a positive agreement with someone, fresh. It's completely fresh, completely present, authentic. Absolutely nothing there that can evaluate that otherwise. Other questions? Yes.
When you're bowing, I think there's a phrase and maybe cutting through where your teachers, Chogyam Trungpa said something about it's like fresh baked bread. Was he referring to something similar to what you're speaking?
So it's a good one. Yes, it's completely the Dharma isn't, even though it was taught 2,500 years ago, if you see what this is, it's like fresh baked bread. It's completely present. It's authentic. It doesn't show up in time and space. It's just this. It's always this. The fancy way of saying it is the eternal now, past and present, or inventions of the controlling ego-centered oligarchy in the mind that wants to control, wants to stop some things and start others, and wants to control everything. Not that you can't live that way. You can. Just will be difficult. Though passion, aggression, and ignorance, pushing and pulling and shutting down do keep you away to some extent from suffering, but that's very temporary. Just like if something is giving you trouble and you can find some way of blaming a situation or blaming another person or blaming any number of things so you don't have to be responsible for what's happening. That will slow down the discomfort to some extent, sometimes quite a bit. If you're bombing the whole country, I imagine you feel pretty good about that on some level, that you're accomplishing something because it's someone you hate and you're winning. But that's temporary. Yes.
On your mind, you said there is no past or future, they're inventions.
Yes.
What role does memory play?
You have to get to the grocery store somehow. We have to eat. Where the illusion is very powerful, and the illusion gets hungry. The illusion wants to sleep. The illusion wants to go for a walk. The illusion is the illusion. You are not a body. You're not a human body. That's an illusion. But the illusion is so powerful, you have to relate to that. If you're in an illusion, you have to relate to that. Just like if you're in a dream, you have to run away from the polar bear that's chasing you. You don't turn around and say, a dream polar bear. Not worried about that. No, because the dream polar bear will use his dream teeth and take you into his dream stomach, eat you. Frightening, can be very frightening.
In your mind, I'm just thinking about, we have 2,500 years of teachings from the Buddha and masters after that.
I'm listening. What?
So again, I'm kind of caught on this memory thing.
It's just a structure. It's not real.
The memory.
It's not even accurate, because if you see someone or someone says something or does something and you don't receive clearly what that is, and you receive or remember what you thought that was, then you remember a pack of lies.
Can we ever remember correctly?
No. Relatively, you can probably get fairly close, but not going to help. Fundamentally, ultimately, it's just more tracking things down. More about that. Good area to question, and if you have them, I'm anxious to hear how I'll respond to whatever you say, since I've not heard it yet.
In your mind, well, you just brought up about, I guess it falls into the good or evil camp with bombing. Some people are bombing or killing, or
What about it? Ask me a direct
so
question.
there's memory involved there. There's,
But it's tracking projections. There's no way you can know what's happening. Wherever there's no way you can know what's fundamentally happening in the Gaza Strip, if that's what you're referring to. I mean, it's horrible. We know that. Got enough information there. We know that the causation is hidden. If you just use time, the memory of time, just go back to 1947, or go back thousands of years, all the persecution of people. You can't just step in the center and say, well, we're just going to stop that. It's dependent. The illusion is dependent on other aspects of the illusion for its progression or its momentum to come down like a landslide out of the illusion of history. You go ahead.
just relating it to the talk title of whatever arises.
Yes.
Fresh. So how can memories be fresh?
Memory is not fresh. Memory is it's leftovers.
Can we make them fresh?
No. Remember this. Remember this. Can you remember this? Without any content. Just remember this. It's just this. This is something else. Not to me.
Not to me, bowing. So does memory is memory inherently a story that we're telling ourselves that leaves what this is?
Yes, we're fabricating things about things. Something happens, and then if we move this direction, we remember what happened over there, and it has a relativity to it that holds up fairly well as far as we know where we left the dishcloth, or we know where the coffee pot is at. So it works that way, but when it starts to get in the area of evaluation, judgments, and abstractions, then it starts to get the orientation there is about protecting someone, me, about believing in stories, disbelieving in stories, in making up stories, and so on. A lot to be said about it if you have more questions.
Not Sumi bowing, a little bit in a different direction. I'm wondering about the relationship between things in what we call time, where we can tell a story that seems sequential and linear, but sometimes it seems like maybe symbolically or thematically events in my life, if I look back, seem to be related, or, like, for just a specific example, is I had a meditation teacher that kind of looked like you. So
Really
I
good
don't-
look, good looking person.
yeah. Um, so the is there like a symbolic relationship between things that appear over the course of time?
If I'm following what you're asking about, I would say yes. Symbols are very, very powerful symbolic situations, but that's a whole labyrinth of structures and concepts and phrases and descriptions, and it's extremely complicated. That whole area. Yes, does it have it has a relative existence. It has a quality of otherness that is extremely powerful, and it can magnetize us right in so that we can actually donate aspects of our consciousness, our life, to working in that area to try to squeeze some kind of understanding or truth, something out of working with the mind in that way, using memory, using concepts, using ideas, using the fabrications that we call memory to track things down, get some kind of a reference point that feels substantial, feels supported, feels real. So yes, you can spend a lot of time doing that. I'm not against it. I would say that's what scientists do, work in that area. But you could also spend time, as I sometimes say, unplug from everything, sit down, sit symmetrical, and just watch the movement of this word processor. Just watch it so that the consciousness, the quality of the consciousness and your understanding becomes deeper and deeper about what's actually happening there, if anything. So not to go away from what you're asking, I'm saying if you do go into that area, it's just such a amazing network or matrix of otherness, of the illusion of otherness taking all kinds of shapes. Just the concepts about a particular thing are powerful. You just went into just the recent science on AI, which I have not done, but AI is getting more and more strange, as are things like which we looked into just recently, stem cell, that whole area, and what is possible there, what is the conjecture is around that. Not to mention all the other things that are happening in science. Those are very, very seductive and magnetizing, because they're so, if you speak with someone who's an expert in anything, they can just draw you right into their world because it's so intensely powerful conceptually, but it's still an illusion. So that's why I say, as what I'm looking at, I'm saying the most important thing that any of you can do, besides be a scientist or besides be a musician or a math teacher or whatever it is you do, is to spend some time being by yourself and watch what flows in the mind so that you are not fooled by what shows up in the mind into thinking that some things are true and some things are not true. I've said, yes, you heard me right. Some things are true, some things are not true. Look closely, please. Relative truth is that, is this a white object? Yes. So relatively, that's true. And also, is this a green object? Yes. Relatively, that's untrue. So have I just lied? But what am I pointing at when I'm saying that? I'm saying that the mind does things. If I point to this and I deliberately tell you a lie that is right in front of you, it's not green, it's white. But what am I pointing at there? Please find out. That's all the explanation I can give you about it. I'm just saying that you can make a statement about something that is untrue, that is also not false. This is something Dogen did in the 13th century. Go back and spend a couple of days with Dogen. Read his Being Time. Read it 10 times. I have. Did I lie? Yes. Only read it 8 times. But read it so that you can see that what he's talking about there, even though it's translated out of the Japanese, which I would like to be able to read Japanese. I would like to hear what words he selected in that particular language to talk about, talk in certain ways about the Dharma. Just an astonishing teacher he was. That's why we use more than one translation of his works. Being Time. I think it's Uji. Is that correct? Uji? Or time being, sometimes said that way. It does not explain it to you. It just puts you on the spot conceptually by using images and ideas. 16-foot golden Buddha, 8-foot golden Buddha. Take your pick. Go ahead.
Wunderbar. When you say whatever arises is fresh, I'm thinking of myself on the cushion, and form, feeling, perception shows up. Even before we get to memory, it seems like I'm naming things.
Yes.
And like my hip hurts. Well, it's my and hip and hurts. There's 3 conclusions.
Yes.
That does not seem fresh.
That is fresh.
How is that fresh?
Because it's not stale. What are you adding on to that makes it smell?
Name, identifying with it, history of.
So you named 3 things: my identity, ego, hip, body part, and hurts, emotion or feeling. Okay. So what if you perceive all of that without naming anything? Can you perceive that without names?
I think that's what I hear. That's what the teaching is. I don't know if I can do that.
So sometimes this is taught as renunciation. I don't teach that as something you do. The way I teach this, I say, watch the way you hang on to the name. Watch the way you hang on to the pain. Observe the way you do that. Receive that part of it. If you get really upset with another person, rather than try to not be upset with them, you could say, use that anger that you have towards them and be aware of that. Rather than, oh, I can't hurt them or I can't be mean. And maybe that might be part of it. Maybe you might also pull back your doubled up fist, or pull back the tension in your vocal cords that is causing you to say things that you don't particularly want to say. So it needs to be about the awareness, but you can't cut it off at the past. There is no past, as there are in Westerns. We can't do that. It has to be seen as it is right now. It's fresh, and it needs to be seen fresh. By the time you get to the part of me and hip and pain, it's already stale. There's an immediacy. This is what you're training yourselves to do, sitting on the cushion. You are training yourself to see what arises in your mind stream, in the hallway, in the meditation hall, in your bedroom, wherever you're at. You're training yourself to just receive that. And the practice is observe, and you will receive things that have laminations on them called judgments, ideas, opinions, conclusions about everything that arises. And if you can, don't correct it, but just receive that so that you can see clearly what that is. Because it is not what you think it is. Not what you think. What is it? Find out. You have to find out. I can say, I could explain it or take it in different directions, but it's better that I encourage you to sit still, leave this person, leave this group of people later this evening or tomorrow or sometime, sit down and hold still and just observe the freshness of every moment, no matter how it appears. It's fresh. Yes.
Hogan bowing, is there an energy exchange that occurs when you're intending to look at things as fresh? For instance, feeling tired after being with or intending to be around something that is intense.
So what I'm endeavoring to point at is not a constant state of a fresh, optimistic feeling where no matter how many demons appear in front of you with switchblades, that you're just delighted to see them. Don't mean that. I mean, the kind of freshness I'm talking about is the immediacy of it. It's immediate. Someone is there or you're dealing with some situation that is challenging or obstructive, however, describe it any negative way you want. And the freshness comes from you're just there. You're completely present. Being present isn't something you can do. The only entry there is into that, to use relative statements like enter or entry, is to see how you resist it. You have to see the negativity. You have to receive the negativity. Life is suffering. The cause is wanting something else. You have to see that whatever shows up, it's difficult, it's challenging, life is suffering, and you don't like it. You want something else. You just want to do away with it. And that particular experience of negativity or difficulty, some people are, including this one, they're very creative about creating a lot of negativity when everything is just fine. You just make up stuff just so you'll feel like you're somebody and you're having a problem and people should feel sorry for you or something. That's my problem. I want everybody to feel sorry for me. How about you? You want that?
Yes.
Interesting, isn't it? That's actually the way you find out there isn't anyone here. It's not by pretending you don't care what people think, or I don't care what people think. I'm just going to do what I want. Or no, it's about being that emotion. If that emotion comes up on you, please don't hide out from anything. Don't cover anything up. Don't pretend something that is just not true. You can actually receive this first noble truth yourself. Just like the Buddha pointed to, as we know, 2,500 years ago, life is suffering. Quite often the people we run into are intensely suffering, but are not really aware of it because they're so busy blaming others. Not busy, not occupied with it, but if any difficulty comes up, they can go that direction of the person who caused their difficulty or the situation. Could be anything, could be how their parents treated them. I certainly blamed my parents a lot when I was younger, very young, for difficulty I was having. And it's not that there aren't some causes and conditions but everybody's in the same arena of samsara, otherness, rotation, circularity, cycle after cycle after cycle. More.
Hogan bowing, it appears as though there could be the arising of negativity, the intention to receive, resistance, perhaps walking away feeling like a victim.
Yes.
You teach that you can receive without remainder. Is this a possibility where you walk away not feeling like you were shit on?
There's a possibility of that, but you might have to first feel like you were Whatever shows up, that's it. Now, it may be full of projections or ideas or judgments or evaluations, but you have to receive the leading edge of that, which is feeling shitty. Like something happened, we'll care for that. But rather than leave that particularly for blaming, then you just would feel the negativity, feel the shittiness. But if you see yourself going out towards blaming, then receive that, then be aware of that. And without the remainder of doubling up into more negativity. So nothing, it's just clear as shit. Is that what you mean by remainder? The remainder is, what's that? Without remainder is just addressing the illusion of duality or otherness. There is no other. That's an illusion. If somebody does something, it looks like they're at fault. There's no way they can be at fault. There isn't anyone. The ultimate statement there in a relative way, there isn't any other. If you see it, that doesn't mean you'll stop having lunch or that you won't be friends with this person and try to avoid that other person because they're a pain in the butt. It just means that you know that's not true. They believe it, you even believe it, but you notice that you believe it. You don't have to get rid of that. When I say don't believe, I know you can't stop believing. When I say don't disbelieve, I know you can't stop dismissing something or saying that's not true. But if I say that, and then if I say also don't ignore, then when those things do come up, the belief attachment or the disbelief intent to detach and the intent to distract or move away, much more obvious. Because there's a little bit of tension in there on that. You're endeavoring perhaps to not believe something, or perhaps to not disbelieve it or dismiss that situation or ignore it.
Hogan bowing, just this area of, I would call it meanness.
Meanness, not mean, but
No,
me and my stuff.
a quality that's not
Yes.
an emotion, but is constantly reflecting on how it's affecting me, this meanness.
Look at me all the time.
I don't know.
I don't mean me, I mean me.
Is there a word that you use that is referring to meanness? Is
I
the
think it's
resistance-
just a self-referential thing that's happening without a particular name. Just everything is about how this looks for me, how this feels for me. And it's about being aware of that, not getting rid of it. As I've said a few times, I've not gotten rid of anything. I'm basically full of everything. It's just that it's what?
Unreal.
It's unreal. It's kind of a simple thing to say. It's unreal. Yeah, sure. You know, when my knees start to hurt with arthritis, or my feet hurt, or some of my students don't bring me dessert on time.
Are you asking for dessert?
No, no, I'm not. I don't want dessert.
What do you want?
I don't want anything. I want you to train your mind. That's what I want you to awaken and realize your true nature before you pass from this land of Goshen. Yes, sir.
Sokuzan, is there a not knowing quality to what arises as fresh?
Is there? Did you say is there, or is it a question?
Is there,
Yes.
can that be seen even while the concepts come back in?
Yes.
And can,
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
is there seeing,
Continue.
is this room painted black?
I'm looking around to see what other people think. What do you think about it? what he said.
It's a zebra color.
Huh?
Zebra color.
It's a deeper color,
Zebra.
deeper, it's deeper color than black. Oh, you said zebra color. In other words, it's a
Got black
really
stripe.
large donkey.
Got black stripes on. From all
No,
the-
it's actually black with white stripes, if I may say.
Okay.
Not trying to correct you. All right, let's get serious. And how do we get serious? We're gonna wish Natsumi a happy birthday. Is that embarrassing?
I feel eyes on me.
Nobody looks at her, but we're gonna sing a happy birthday. And this is a card that I sometimes make cards for people. This says Natsumi.
But it's not till tomorrow.
Huh? What?
The birthday's not till tomorrow.
The birthday's not till tomorrow, so take it away. And then what I do here sometimes is I make a birthday card and then people sign it. Like so. Says happy birthday, Natsumi. Spelled it right, got the date right finally. There it is. And everybody here signed it. I think everybody signed it. And then in the back, then I did a calligraphy here in Japanese Chinese characters that says Gong Shou Dao, Gong Shou Dao. That's Chinese and it means just received. Gong Shou Dao. How do you say that in Japanese?
I don't know.
So, and then the little pronunciations there, and then there's some stamps on there, and a cowboy, which have to have a cowboy somewhere. I mean, we're in the Wild West of sorts. Anyway, ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Natsumi. Happy birthday to you.
Woo! You come up and get it? You can take a look at everybody and you can say hi.
Thank you. Thank you.
You. Be surprised if we a little bit.
Fresh birthday.
Yes, very fresh birthday.
And I might have already been born in global time because I was born in Japan, so.
That's right, you're born in Japan. So. What is that? That's actually happens earlier in Japan, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I
So,
said that.
yeah.
So you're actually,
I might already
might already be
have,
here.
have made it.
I like it. She might already have made it, just in case you didn't hear that.
We're talking numbers.
We're not talking numbers, no, talking totally made it. So it's 7 o'clock here in the Midwest. So is there a final question, especially on Zoom? Anyone there?
Navi bowing.
Hamid,
Is there energy in the freshness of what is arising?
I would say that there's complete energy. It doesn't belong to anyone. It's just everywhere. It has no source and it never runs out. It doesn't have a coming and going quality, and it's always present. It's always there. And I'm not saying you can like access it. Like I just need to get some of that energy. I'm just saying that you are that. You are. I mean, even though there's still a body mind here, you are that consciousness. This doesn't mean that you're not going to have a headache. Doesn't mean that you're not something isn't going to happen in your life that isn't going to be distressing or have you scratching your head or wondering why that's so confusing to you or to someone close to you. But yes, energy is there. It's powerful. But since we're still in a human form, and we still have arms that move, we have digestive tracts, and we have our relative ages and so on. That energy sometimes will be really powerful, and other times might seem non-existent. So I don't know if I got close to what you're asking about, but
Yes, exactly. Navi bowing. And is it the opposite way around? Like, not receiving things as it is, does that consume energy?
It seems like, I don't know if I would use your words, but something like that. That if there's a lot going on to protect you, a lot of energy is being used to protect the paranoid ego. In other words, a lot is going in there. You may not even particularly feel like you're suffering because something about relative truth, if you believe something, if you push on something, then it takes on a quality of otherness that you are winning the fight or losing the fight. So if this fight is all in your head, you could be very likely winning, have the illusion that you're winning because you're right and that other person's situation or dynamic is incorrect or wrong. So, yes, I don't know, am I getting close to what you're asking about? Yes.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. Further questions? Nice to see you, Terry DePerrin. See, you're keeping your beard well trimmed, I see. Is there a further question? Yes, Ondo.
Divine. For someone who is realized or seen what this is everything fresh? Or do you see both?
So I can't, I'm not a witness to that. I can't speak as a witness to your question because it's not separate. So if I would need to, you need to separate out to ask the question. You saw what this is, you can't ask that question. It's not questionable in that sense. Do you follow a little bit? But since you ask it, then I have to be in that situation to respond to it. I have to be in that relative situation. And I would say, as I understand your question, yes, but you won't know it. Yes, but you won't, because the very nature of the illusion, the very nature of dependent origination, the very nature of pratitya samutpada is that the differentiation that comes this way goes that way. The consciousness doesn't do anything. The sky never moves, but a lot of things move in it. And if you're going with something, you're attached to something, you're moving away from something, moving towards something, that relative area is powerful. More about it if you have it.
Divine, so then it is possible to see all of that. There's enough space or, well, if space is the right word, but to see something show up and see how it
Yes.
fits into the illusion.
The way you're asking, I would say yes, but that doesn't mean it isn't going to rain on you. That doesn't mean that you aren't going to turn this way and start to go this way and misjudge the distance between you and the door jamb and hit your kind of what we would call a relative mistake. You just didn't hit the door right. Those things will still happen. A lot of that is due to distractions that are going on in the mind stream. It's so complicated. Just to be a living being is just a combination of things that, going back before this lifetime. All the biology that had to come about for you to even be here in this lifetime, not to mention your mom and dad, all the otherness that was here way ahead of this particular incarnation that any of us are experiencing as we brush our teeth in the morning or at night. It's an incredible illusion. Yes.
Divine. So one definition of freshness is it's never happened before.
Yes.
Would it be something similar to that? Like nothing has happened before to someone
Yes.
who's realized?
The before and the after are gone. One way of saying that is nothing happens twice. It can't happen twice because the original occurrence is unreal. It can't happen again. It might look very similar. I mean, it might look like you just keep getting married over and over and over.
Divine, or the hip. It looks like the same hip, but it still hurts.
It's a different situation. There's some differentiation going on all the time in the illusion we call this life. More. Jishin, you have a question?
Jishin bowing. Is bliss the same as presence? Bowing.
So bliss is a kind of fancy word that shows up in Buddhism of It's not an emotion particularly, but it's my way of saying it, it's just a state of complete. I don't know if I hesitate to find another word, but it's like a state of not contentment because there isn't anyone there. It's not satisfactoriness because there's no one there, and it's really not even bliss because there's no one having that kind of a feeling experience. But there's no one there. So, but those who have realized this are trying to communicate by using that word that there's a deep understanding and consciousness that has no location. So therefore, there's no location, then there might be all kinds of bizarre things going on, but they're not separate from the consciousness. It's just like if you were the sky, there could be a tornado happening in you in the sky. But 10 miles away, there's just sunshine, just birds flying through. It actually you still have the location in a body, but you realize you're not located anywhere. So therefore, you no longer fear death. You know that the body's going to die. You might have some trepidation about it. You're not going to actually kill yourself or stop eating or sleeping, but you know that you're not, that who you are cannot pass away because who you are has not appeared. Who you are is not showing up as a person. There's this dynamic is here, and it's not that you separated yourself from it. You say that you see that you are no longer just a human being. You're no longer just this coming and going in the consciousness of a particular lifetime. It's vast and it's ordinary. And it's possible for you to see this. Go ahead.
When you're bowing, so if one who is apparently realized can't make that statement, is there any proof?
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Well, you said if you see what this is, in order for you to make a statement, or anyone who's realized to make a statement about, yes, I see what this, you're separating yourself.
You have to leave, you could say, but you can't really leave it because it's not a thing. It's not a space. It's not, has no location in time or space.
So is there any proof?
No, there's no proof. There's no evidence for this.
Is the presence of students any kind of proof?
No, the proof is in your insight, your aspiration. You hear the word, maybe you heard it this year, maybe you heard it 50 years ago. You hear something about everything is dependently arisen. Nothing comes from its own side as an individual person. Everything is without a separate self. Something, or you might have just seen an image of the Buddha, or there's just so many ways this can show up, and you just can't turn away from it. You might try, but something brings you back. All kinds of things remind you that there's something that about this lifetime that you could understand or deeply know, rather than just making a living, getting famous, or preventing old age spots. Something you can fundamentally understand that's deep, that it can't leave because it has not occurred. It's transcendent. That's the only word that we can use that actually points to that. You transcend. You don't get rid of the negativity. Yes.
In your mind, sometimes you say, use the terms unconditional confidence
Yes.
about what this is.
Yes.
What is it that is making that statement?
Just consciousness
In the form of a person.
in the form of this person sitting here. Yes. But it's just consciousness. It's not that if you call me by my name that I won't respond because I'm just consciousness. I'm not a person anymore. Although I could, because I'm old, I could get senile at some point and not respond to anything. That's that if the consciousness is tied in with a particular body, it's bound to be modified, qualified, limited by what is happening in that body. Not just the body itself, but the very karma that brought you here in the first place that gave you really great health like you have. You know, at your age, you don't take any pills, you never go to a doctor, unless you fall on your butt. Then, of course, you're forced to go. So some people are just doing better than others in that area. But you know this, so it's that kind of confidence. You know it because I say you see it, but actually you don't see anything. I say you sense it, or that's not it either. It's more than that. It's worse than that. It's better than that. As you've heard me say hundreds of times by now, it's worse than that because it's absolute disaster to that part of the consciousness we refer to as ego or narcissism. It's a disaster in that area. You're completely just deconstructs the whole thing. So there's no longer a person there. But the consciousness which has always been there, is uncovered, you could say, by that construction of ego coming apart. Final question in here?
Jishin bowing.
Final question from Jishin?
What you described as bliss, can it be applied to presence? Bowing.
You could, but it's not something you can recognize. You're not going to hear me talk about that. It's because other people are bringing it up. You and a few other people bring it up, and occasionally I run into it in the teachings. So when you just talked about unconditional confidence, that might be you're just completely confident of what is in front of you, and it's that kind of confidence is saying to you, if I were to translate it into words, is I don't see anything else. I see people. I hear voices. Well, I don't want to say too much there about hearing voices. But I hear you talk, I hear your questions, but it doesn't add up to some other situation, someone who's over there, someone who's, you could even say that our technology is cutting into this to some extent, even though, Jishin, you live in Toronto. You're still in Toronto, aren't you? And Navid lives in Iran. So some people are a long ways away, but the technology comes up and shows us that things are not as separate as they appear. Consciousness shows up in all kinds of ways. Our technology is getting more and more amazing from that point of view. But you can actually do this. You don't need to depend on technology. I mean, we do. We have this community, but you can actually discover what I'm endeavoring to encourage you to do is to see your true nature by holding still and looking at the falsehood that comes and goes about. I like it, I don't like it, it's good. What she said about what I said, or what I shouldn't do, what I like, what I don't like, the constant chatter that's going on in the mind that's evaluating, judging, condemning us or others. Just look at that. It's not real. Since it's not real, you don't have to get rid of it. It's completely fresh. To return to the theme of the talk, fresh, fresh, fresh. Wasn't there a saying back in the 50s? I think it was Ozzie and Harriet. Or no, it wasn't that. It was what was that cartoon of kids? Does anyone know? No one's going to come up with that. I'm going to have to remember something. Was it Archie? Anyway, that the girl would, the boy would make advances on the girl, and she would, don't get fresh with me. Well, not that kind of fresh. Different kind of fresh. Do you remember that? Don't get fresh. Let's see the ages of people here. Who's going to remember that? Okay, I think we're going to go somewhere else, even though there is no such thing somewhere else. We're going to go there anyway. And first, we'll dedicate the merit with the help of,